Hey guys, I am back with Pet Needs 101, and this week's video is all about leopard gecko tails. They're actually pretty complicating, so let's get into the video. So guys, before I start the video, I just want to say I got some more crickets for Buddy, and they're very noisy, so I don't know if you can hear them or not through the camera. The number one thing that's crazy about geckos is always their tail, and that's what this week's video is going to be about. It's the number one defense mechanism of them. It's not like their tail would hurt you, but it's pretty crazy. So geckos can actually drop their tail due to the special muscles and bones that they have connecting it to their body. You see, when a predator will come up to them and obviously wants to eat them, the gecko will feel tense and it'll kind of get scared and it'll just drop the tail and run away. Now, when they drop their tail, it can actually still keep wiggling, even though it's not connected to the body, to keep the predator distracted. And that can go on for even up to about 30 minutes. It's crazy. Another reason why they would drop their tail when a predator comes, not only to distract them, but also their tail is very heavy. As I said, most of their weight is in it and also their storage. So when they drop it, that'll give them a lot of force and power, since they're breaking off about maybe even half of their weight. So they're going to be a lot less weight, so they can run faster and get away as quick as possible. Now personally, my gecko Buddy has never dropped his tail. He's never felt frightened or anything, so that's always good. But if your gecko does drop their tail, you need to make sure that you give them plenty of food, and even probably more food than they normally get, more water, more calcium, more everything, because that tail is their only storage. Because after they eat their food, what will happen is all the fat will go to the tail, and all the stuff they don't need obviously will come out. So the tail is their only storage, which is a fat storage. So if there's ever a drought or anything, like in the desert, they'll just use their tail if they can't find food that night, instead of having to go out and hunt. So guys, if you're afraid that your gecko is getting scared and you're afraid that your gecko is going to drop their tail, there are many signs that will tell you before they drop their tail. For instance, if your gecko gets sort of scared or something like that, they'll start to raise their tail. And once it gets high enough and they get scared enough, then they'll drop it. But they'll start to slowly raise it. And once it gets pretty high, you know, okay, stop. You need to back off, leave them alone for a little bit, and then they can calm down. Guys, another thing about when they raise their tail is raising their tail doesn't always mean they're scared. There's one other instance which doesn't mean they're scared at all, which happens when they're eating. For instance, when Buddy eats, sometimes, it only happens sometimes when he's trying to chase his crickets. If he's really into it and he's really hungry and he really wants to get it, then what he'll do is as he starts staring at it and he's eyeing it down, his tail will start to wiggle really fast. The first time it happened, I got really scared. You know, it's just natural for them. And if it doesn't happen, if your gecko doesn't do this, it's totally fine. Buddy only does this sometimes, so no need to worry if it does or doesn't. It's okay. And they'll wiggle it really, really, really fast. And it'll go slow, 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 and then it'll speed up until it goes really fast, and they'll go for it, and it's kind of cool. So, yeah. But if your gecko does do it, no need to worry. It's not like they're going to drop their tail or anything. So guys, if your gecko does drop their tail, you need to make sure that you dispose of it properly. Don't leave it in their cage or anything, because a gecko, when they drop their tail, they sense, okay, that area is dangerous. There's predators there. I should never go back there. So if you leave their tail in the cage, they're going to think that they're constantly in a place that's terrible and they're going to get eaten. So they're going to still be really scared. So you need to make sure if they do drop their tail, take it out with gloves or something, and then you should probably wash their cage a little while after that, just because they can probably still smell it too. So guys, some places there are geckos native to them, like in Florida for instance. Now the number one thing that people do to these geckos in Florida is they try and pick them up. If there are geckos native to where you are, don't pick up just any random gecko because they're not domesticated, unless you get it from a pet store, shelter, or anywhere like that. Another thing they do is, since they're kind of scared to get their hands near their mouth, they'll pick it up by its tail. That is again very bad. As I've said before, they'll get scared and drop it. And we don't need that happening. Random fact about them is their tail is a totally different color as their body. My gecko, Buddy, he's laying on my bed over there, he has a yellow body with brown spots, and his tail is white with brown spots. So it's totally different, but there's no real reason for it. Again, as I said, you can see his body is yellow with some spots, and his tail is white with some spots, and in between where his tail conjoins to his body, it's sort of orangish, so you can see where it would drop. It would be dropping right there, where there's actually a kind of a little dip in his tail. You'll see it if you actually have a gecko. It's kind of hard to see on Buddy though. Guys, that's it for this week's video. Don't forget to subscribe up there for another video every week. Comment down below for if you have any questions or comments about this video, or just if you want me to do another video on something that you guys recommend. Make sure to like this video. I mean, it's just down there. It's not too hard. And that's it. So see you guys later. Bye!